Good Monday. This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried and Brew. We've heard that the regulators are talking to banks about putting together profitability plans. When we think of that, overall, the profitability, especially in the industry, has been under pressure. We've heard about it that the OCC has been requiring this from banks that have joined them from the OTS. So when we look at profitability planning on all levels, it really comes back, in my mind, to what we do at Seafried and Brew in terms of our strategic planning model. That really is looking at the future of profitability as one of the pieces that come off of that model. And when we think of that and we look at the model, we also want to run different scenarios, because you know that I'm a big fan of scenarios. Saying what happens if we're right, what happens if we're wrong, as part of that overall profitability planning, strategic planning. When we look at the strategic model, we could also sit there and put into the model what happens if interest rates stay low for as long as the Fed is indicating into 2014. On the other side, what we can say is, well, what happens if interest rates start moving up maybe in the next number of months and move up over a period of time? So we can look at a number of different scenarios in terms of what the impact is going to be to our profitability. What actions do we need to take to build up profitability? Because looking at an overall, community banks in the first quarter had approximately a 0.75 ROA. Much better, of course, than what we experienced last year, where it averaged closer to a 0.5 ROA, and the previous couple of years where actually ROAs on average for community banks were negative. So once again, when the regulators are looking at that E component in CAMELS and not seeing the strength in earnings in an institution, is that they're saying, okay, you have to have this profitability plan. So we want to think about things strategically. We want to be able to sit there and say, what are our strategic goals in here to be part of that modeling? We also want to look at things like the assumptions that go into it, our growth assumptions, our margin assumptions over the period of time, as well as net overhead, and what our overall tax efficiency is going to be, which are the key drivers of a bank's income. And then what that, of course, leads into, and we've discussed this before, it leads into providing your bank with a capital plan, because the strategic model will lay out all of your capital ratios. And I think that this is a great way for the board to sit there and say, where are we going into the future? What can we expect from the profitability? It can help to develop a dividend plan. And from that standpoint, you look at the capital planning piece that all the regulators want to see in the capital plan, that one of the essentials in a capital plan is that strategic planning profitability model. So when we look at it in so many ways, that from a management perspective is that they can then build their action plans on how they're going to achieve that profitability plan. So this is really, as I look at it, a very integral part of community banking, especially coming out of the times that we've just experienced. To sit there and say, what could the future look like? Is it attainable? And what do we have to do to get there? This is Jay Brew, co-chairman of Seafried and Brew. Have a good week.